For those of you that don't know me and that you may be here recently or a little bit more recently than me crossing over on 1 million subscribers on the Anton Daniels channel and 400,000 on a Millionaire Morning Show and all of that. For those of you that may not know me, the way that I started off on YouTube was vlogging. I am an OG vlogger from 10, 11, 12 years ago. Yeah. I am an OG vlogger. What up, Courtney Egger Show? What up, everybody in the chat? Welcome to the show. I am an OG vlogger. So that is how I started off. That is how people got to know me. I got some skin in the game. Before I started talking about politics and relationships and popular culture and getting love and hate and all of this other stuff, I was a vlogger and I was an explorer, an urban explorer, and I explored different cities, different locations, urbex, urban exploration, all of that stuff. And so I've been documenting my life since the beginning, and I never wanted that to go away. And so that lives on that channel. And when I was on that channel, I was scrolling through the comments because the comments on the vlogs mean the most to me, to be honest with you. And when I was scrolling through the comments, somebody said, hey, AD, you know, they call me AD. AD cares about what people think. He tries to act like he only cares about the bag chasers. I said, because I was complaining today, you know, on the video that I dropped about the fact that the city of Detroit they don't do their job. You know, if you're trying to market the city, grand openings, all of that stuff, I should be invited, right? Why wouldn't you invite literally the biggest YouTuber who grew up, raised, stayed in Detroit, first YouTuber to cross 1 million subscribers, to live, work, and play, grew up in, raised in, and still lives in Detroit, right? And then, you know, you always going to get some people that says stuff like, no, this person did it first and this person did it first. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. And that's no shade to them. God bless them. But no, they didn't. A lot of times what people don't know us for, what people don't know about Detroit is that we're fierce for the people that actually have been raised and live in a city. And it doesn't mean that we don't love people that are outside of the city or come and visit or move there, but we fierce because it's a lot of people that came afterwards, or it's a lot of people that say, well, I'm from Detroit. And usually what that means is I'm from Metro Detroit, right? All of the people that they keep mentioning, they actually from South Lyon, you know what I'm saying? They from Pontiac, Novi, Farmington Hills. They went to school out there. They was born out there. They was raised out there. They didn't really have the inner city experience. And again, it's not a knock to them, but they have never lived, work, and play. I actually was born in Detroit, went to school in Detroit, graduated high school in Detroit, never left. A lot of people also leave the city and then they go and get on somewhere else, which you got to do what you got to do. You know, go get your money and go get your visibility. Yeah, they from Southfield. That's a fact. That's a fact. And so people will say, no, they not. A lot of times when people, like, you want somebody to know where you're from, you usually, and it's not even a knock to them really, because a lot of times people will say, well, I'm from Detroit, because people don't know the other cities out in the suburbs, right? They don't know what a Royal Oak is. They don't know what Birmingham is. They don't know it. Unless you're actually in the city, you don't know nothing about that, right? So they'll say, oh, I'm from Detroit. No, you're not. You're not from here. And so they may be from Michigan. It may be some people that got to 1 million plus and they bigger YouTubers from Michigan, but they're not Detroit. And it's a difference. Homegrown, raised, never left, still here, you know? It's a completely different conversation. So somebody was saying, oh man, Anton cares about this type of thing. And it's not that I care about what other people think. It's similar to the theme of this show today, in that you want to be recognized as great for your accomplishments. The awards don't bring money, right? The golden plaque to say 1 million subscribers or 100,000 subscribers or whatever it is that you get, that doesn't translate into money. Okay. So it's no inherent value, but men, real men, and I guess this is a conversation for men that actually understand what it means to be a real man, a man that understands family, a man that understands legacy, a man that understands spirituality, a man that impacts their community, a man that wants to give back to their community. The reason why people are philanthropic, the reason why people donate to universities, their alumni, the reason why people give back to their city, the reason why people give scholarships is not just because they care about the people, they also want to be heralded. I think that this go round for Trump in particular is meaningful for him, right? Because this is his final opportunity to cement his legacy in the minds of those that really never even experienced a Trump presidency. Because it's going to be people, similarly to how I talk about the 2008 crisis, is people that never experienced Clinton. They can only read about it. They can only hear about it from people that actually was there, right? It's people that never ever experienced the Bushes or the JFKs or any of those type of people. And so when you talk about legacy, when we talk about Obama, right, it's different when you lived it versus what people remember you for. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when Trump does things this go round, I believe that there's no inherent value to Trump to go and clean up these cities. I don't believe that there's any inherent value to his family to go and remove all of these illegal migrants out of the country. And I think that that's a good thing because you truly have to be a servant of the people, right? When people say, oh man, Trump is authoritarianism. No, you just don't understand that you've been living in poverty for so long that you used to poverty. And when somebody try to take your poverty away from you, oh no, you don't even realize what it's like to be free. And some people don't want to be free because freedom means that you actually have to work. Freedom means that you actually have to be accountable. Freedom means that you actually have to take responsibility for the lot that you have in life, and you can't blame anybody else for your problems. And so I believe also that our communities have been cursed with generational trauma, and that we think that holding on to poverty gives us some sense of self-worth. That's why we claim neighborhoods that we don't own. That's why people join gangs, because they want to have some sense of belonging and normalcy amongst praise and people acknowledging you. Even if it's bad, sometimes people go and they do things for acknowledgement, for visibility, because they want to be remembered, right? And if we bring it back to the vlog, right? And this is why I love vlogging, because the reason that I got into vlogging in the first place was because it actually painted a picture of what my life was like when all of this is said and done. When you get out of here, when you retire, when you gone, what do they have to go off of? Are you going to let somebody else tell your story, or you want to tell your story and let the chips fall where they may? And so it's important for me to be absolutely transparent. So do I care what people think? No. Do I care about my legacy? The legacy that you craft after everybody gets done complaining? It's meaningful to me. Every real man wants to have a great legacy. It's just the truth. And you should if you are a real man. But if you are a partner in a relationship, or if you're the type of guy that actually looks for handouts, or you're the type of guy that don't necessarily care to cement your own legacy, but you'd rather talk about somebody else's, then you can't relate. You wouldn't understand. You wouldn't understand. So is it meaningful to be meaningful in my city? 100%. I love it because I live, work, and play. I went through and I survived, right? And I lived in the neighborhoods, and I played at the basketball rims, and I seen the destruction, and, you know, we lived through the bankruptcy and all of that stuff. So to see the city thriving now, yeah, of course I would want to be invited to certain events when I watched it, documented it, brought visibility to, and promoted the city when everybody else left. Of course, it's meaningful to me, right? But I'm going to give you another thing, and then we're going to go ahead and get into the show because I see that we got more than 1,000 people in here. Here's the other part of it, all right? I do not believe that you have the courage. And when I say you, I'm speaking to everybody. All these men out here that say that they're great, prove it. I don't believe that you have the courage to live your life like an open book. I don't. I don't believe you have the courage to do so. It's easy to sit behind a keyboard and type it, but it's different to actually be transparent about your thoughts. Because contrary to popular belief, we all have things that people love and hate about us. But the great ones will be remembered not for what it is that people didn't like about them, but for what they stood for. And so, in order to do that, you got to give people something to actually cheer for. You got to give them something to hate you for. Every great person in history was hated fiercely and loved fiercely. And when people argue about whether or not they hate you or they love you, for me, that's the true praise that comes along with living your life like an open book and making an impact in society. And your impact could be small, it could be great, it could be whatever it is, but to not be remembered at all and to be meaningless is death to me. Is death to me. At some point, I believe that the great ones get beyond the money. They get beyond the stuff and all of that. That's cool and that's cute. But they care more about the impact that they leave in the places that they lived and the legacy that they impart on people and how they will be remembered. And I don't believe that most content creators are scared to death. Did y'all know that? You love me, Tabby? I love you too. Most content creators are scared to death. That's the honest to God truth. And they're not going to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this because you know me. I'm going to say what I want to say, and I'm not owned by anybody, and I don't have any allegiance to anybody except for the people that work with me and my bag chasers. Mr. Allen right here is scared to death. You know why? Mr. Allen is probably gay. I feel like I'm hearing that from God right now. Do I know Mr. Allen? No, probably will never run into him in my life. He studied all of my content. He knows all about me, but I guarantee you that he got some skeletons in his closet that he don't want nobody else to know. Now, I live my life like an open book, so it's easy to come and criticize me. And I'm cool with that because I'm paid handsomely for it. It brings more visibility, and this is what I signed up for. But I know for a fact that 98, 99% of YouTubers, why do you think that most people that are content creators create an alias? You know why? Because they don't want you to know who they really are. They don't want you to know where they live. They don't want you to know that they deadbeats. They don't want you to know that they in debt. They don't want you to know that they gay. They don't want you to know that they stupid, that people didn't really care for them and all of that. And so what people do is that they talk about other people, but they don't give anything about themselves because they are scared. Because you're going to find out that they're really homeless and that they live with their girl. You're going to find out that they really shower at the gym, right? And it's nothing wrong with going through things in life, but they fiercely scared, but they'll never give you anything about them. Because then you're going to find out that, oh man, he really a piece of shit, right? You're going to find that out. You're going to find out that he a pillow biter. You're going to find out that Mr. Allen is a pillow biter. You're going to find out that Mr. Allen is a pillow biter, right? You're going to find out that they've been to jail and they fierce about making sure that nobody finds out that their boyfriend that was in jail get out of jail, because then he might say, hey, Mr. Allen was gay. And it's nothing wrong with you living your truth, big dog. You know what I'm saying? And think about it. They know your stats. They know all your videos. They watch your stuff. They're subscribed to your channel. You can't talk in here unless you subscribed. Another Alan Trent. And no matter how much I talk about them, they gonna stay here. You know why? Because they fans. You a fan, you a fan, you a fan. So I don't block them because I want them to stay active. I want them to stay engaged. I want them to continue to bring visibility to the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? I love them. It's like going to the garden. You know what I'm saying? You love them. Malik, Allen, they all the same. You don't see them in real life. You see them on the internet, Twitter fingers. They type hard, but your legacy is going to be defined by how authentic you are. Remember that. So I'm going to continue to vlog. I'm going to continue to be transparent. I'm going to continue to show y'all my flaws, my successes, loves, the hates, everything. That's my promise to you.